serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? Don't do this to me. Why are you doing this to me? Yes. Why are you doing this to me? 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 Why are you doing this to me, OBS? Why? Hey, you guys. Welcome to Rev Draws. Oh my god. Hate it here. Let's see if you're on your best behavior today. So, before this goes out on me with some kind of craziness, and it did exactly what I thought. Isn't that crazy? Like I said before, hey you guys, welcome to Rev Draws. I'm Rev Alvaredia, and this is where I stream my art and share my story times from Twitch and YouTube. For those on YouTube, hi you guys. Well, YouTube VODs anyways. Now, as I always say, some stories start off good and sometimes they may end in a twist. Not many people know this, but my webtoon, Where Love Began, A Journey Within, is actually based off of my real life experiences, actually. Crazy, right? Karu is the main character. That will always be me. Now, for legal purposes, we're gonna use webtoon names for today and from now on, because I don't want to be sued. But if you guys wanted to follow my art journey, all my socials are linked down below. All right, let's get into this. Now, because life is cruel, it's very cruel, and we gotta, deal with it. Also, just to give you guys a heads up, I'm gonna be real with you. Now, some people may be good with, using, like some people may be good at using the model, adding a head to the model. It's a work in progress for me. I tried it once. It didn't go the way I wanted. I got annoyed, so I said, you know what? I'm going to try again. I'm going to try again. And if it don't work, oh no, my chibi's not showing. Not my chibi not showing. Not my chibi not showing. Don't do this to me. Not my chibi not showing. Okay, there she is. There goes my chibi. Almost thought I didn't see her. I thought I'd almost see her for a moment. Ay. Because, for a moment there. But you know, I'm working on it, even though oh shit. Even though I'm still working on it, you know, it's a work in progress. So today I'm gonna let you guys, well, in the next few, you know, pages, I may show you how I do my art. But yeah, no, the head thing is still a work in progress. So as you guys may see, all right, come on, be on your best behavior. Come on, Clip Studio Paint. Be on your best behavior. Now, this page right here comes from my prologue. Just to give you guys a heads up, I plan on I plan on revamping my first few chapters of my webtoon. Now, mind you, because of this, I know most people say, why would you do that? That makes no sense. Well, for me, it makes sense because the way I used to do my art style, it seemed so realistic that it took too much time and it was very time consuming. I never got anything out. It took me forever to get everything out because I was doing everything so realistically. And then once I realized, I started, you know, changing a few things in my art style, things got easier and everything got smoother out. So I'm low key a perfectionist. So this is how we're going to do it. But yes, as you see, at the end of the chapter of the prologue, which I got to get that together because, you know, life is rough and, you know, I got to deal with it. There's that. But yes, as you see, it says, cheers to the being single. And for those who understand, if you know, you know, cheers to not being burdened by some woman's unhealed son. That is a fact. If you know, you know. Now, you guys may have seen this cover image inside. That is, I'm not going to reveal where that background is just yet. But in the meantime, let's get this chapter up and going. But first things first. Time to drink some coffee. And yes, I said coffee. Yes, I'm low-key becoming a coffee girl all over again. But, you know, in a little bit, I'm probably going to stop drinking it. Oh no, I just heard my arms. That's not what I want to hear. Dear God, I'm a geriatric millennial. I shouldn't be hearing my bones like this. I'm scared. But as you see, that's the background for that one. But yes, amen. What I want to do. Alright. It's not really hair, it's a bonnet, but whatever. But okay, let's start the story time. Now, as it says, the retelling of the Nightshift Chronicles Chapter 2. Now, I'm going to let you know right now, as some of you guys may not know, These chronicles are going to be very uber long. That is a fact. What this time around has a little bit of a craziness going on and somewhat of a good ending. Now, as I'm working this, as you know, I'm working this shift. I worked from 3 to midnight. Now, mind you, I deal with it because I need the money. Now, as from chapter as the first chapter, I do not like Rachel. I do not like Rachel. I definitely don't like Diamond. But I tolerate them because I need money. Well, all that to say, let's get into the story. Um, but yeah, no, I don't like them. You couldn't pay me enough to like them. But here we are. But but this is how it went. Now, as you know, I clock in, question my life decisions every time, and I, I'm questioning all my life decisions, as they usually say, question all my life decisions. Now, as I question my life decisions, someone that I'm cool with on the I'm cool with this one person on the shift. We're gonna call her Ash. And Ash and I are really cool. You know, she works on the grill, and and Ash sees what's going on, and she's like, she sees that Rachel's on the shift, and usually if she's on the shift, well, actually no, she worked mornings. Now, Ash worked that morning, so she didn't get off until like 6 or 7. Cause wait, no, I think she worked from 9 to 5. No, 9 to 6. 9 to 6. And she doesn't like she don't like Rachel either. And Rachel kind of had it out for me. And because the thing is, I was a good employee. I didn't really have any bad ratings about me. I was like, ooh, I wasn't perfect per se, but everyone loved me basically. But like I said, I was a good employee. Um, had everything like good going for me. But basically, when I started the shift, I had to go to I had to go to the office to get my register that's already counted, and take it, put it in the drawer. And as I put it in the drawer, Rachel, came up to me and said, she said, "Oh, hi, Cara. How are you doing?" And on the back of my mind, I'm like, "Get your fake ass out my face." But I said that internally, but externally, Oh, hi, Rachel. How are you doing? How are you doing? Um, like, how are you doing today? She's like, oh, I'm great. I see that you're on. She said, Rachel was like, I see you're working on register today. I said, yeah, I am. Why do you ask? She said, I'm just shocked that they let you work on a register so fast. And like I said, eternally, I was like, get the hell out my face, you hoe. So, and then, the person who trained me at the time, we're going to call her Rosalind. Actually, no, let's call her, not Rosalind. Yeah, Rosalind. We're going to call her Rosalind. Like, she's an old lady, old black woman. Let's call her Rosie. Now, Rosie trained me on the register. She was like really good. And Rosie looked at Rachel and said, of course she's good. I trained her. She said, I trained her. So, and Rachel kind of like, backed up a little bit. Because, Rosie at the time was about to clock out. She said, don't let Rachel get under your skin. After all, she said, I wouldn't let that home wrecker, I kid you not, she said, I wouldn't let that home wrecker get under your skin. You know, I didn't think about it too much, but I was like, home wrecker. Ooh. I took that into consideration. I was like, you know what? She's a home wrecker now, so I need to know what's up. I need to know the tea about that. I eventually found it out, but that's not the story for today. The story of today is something totally different other than that. But basically, after she said that, I became uber curious. But back to the story. She came out there and asked me, what were you and Rosie talking about?" And I told her work, and she's like, "That's not how you talk to people." And I told her, "Yeah, but I'm not obligated to tell you anything if I don't want to. You're not my manager." She said, "But I'm your team leader. That's cool and all, but you're not my manager." She got really mad. I said that to her like that. Like, get the fuck out my face, man. I'm like, get away from me, man, get the fuck away from me. And after that, she, went and snitched on me. I'm like, get the fuck out of my face, bruh. But yeah, I'm like, get the hell out my face, man. I haven't done anything to you. Nosy. He's nosy for no reason. But there's also, but yeah, she went back and told, my manager that I was being rude to her. And the manager on the shift was, her favorite manager, Diamond. And they were. She was like kiki haing with her, trying to get me in trouble. But Diamond said I haven't got. She hasn't caused any trouble, which I didn't. Um. And then she did like and walked over to Fry Side and asked the person who drops the chicken, "Can you make me some wings? Can you get me like 10 wings fried hard?" And she came. Ironically enough, she came to my register to ring it up. Now like I said, she came to my register and she came to my register and rung it up. There were two or three. There are three registers in the front, and everybody, all three of us were up there, and she literally came to me. Now, mind you, even though I was kind of green, you she tried to embarrass me. Yeah, no, I wasn't gonna let her embarrass me. She got me fucked up. And jokes on her. I'm about to say, don't worry, um, but don't worry, you guys. This phone I have, this phone design, don't worry. I won't let it go bareback. But yeah, back to the story. Um, as you know, but she tried to embarrass me, but I was like, no, you're not. She tried to embarrass me, but I refused to be embarrassed. Yeah, she failed though. And then she rolled her eyes, and then she went on break and ate her food. But no, I'm not gonna allow her to embarrass me. Oh, God, I'm tired. But after she was trying to humiliate me, um, one of the older people who worked there said, "Ooh, she may tell Diamond," and I gave them a deadpan expression, saying, "What's she gonna do to me?" Like, same thing with Rachel. What are you gonna do to me? Like, they can't. They can. The thing is, they're not paying me. That establishment is paying me. Only power they have is to fire me. That's how I see it. Oh, that's right. But you know, you're not about to make a fool of me, and you're not paying me. That establishment is. And also, like I said before, I'm a good employee. They're not gonna get rid of me. But yeah, after all that, you know, she went on break. Well, I think she went on break or she left. Or she was like on her way to get off. I don't know. I didn't really want to deal with her. Um as you know, she went to sit down over there to eat her food after she got her wings. First of all, I'm going to disclose this. I have nothing against the LGBTQIA community, QIA plus community. I have nothing against you guys. Just I'm gonna let you know that right now. Now, as I'm now as I well today we would call we will call this person she. Now, she came in there talking reckless, saying all kind of reckless stuff to me. Now, as I was working, um, I was in good spirits. I was trying to be positive, but the thing is, she was being very disrespectful as she was talking to me, saying certain things like, "Oh, you have a pretty face, but it's wasted on you since you work here," and that saying things like, "Oh, you're pretty, but oh, you're pretty, but." Another thing she said was, "You're pretty, but you look like you have a bad attitude." Now, this is before God really truly came in my life, okay? Like, she was, let's put it like this, she was saying like all kind of things to me. Now, I've never been homophobic a day in my life. That's a fact. Cause I know, I know, I know too many in the community, in your community, that have stood up for me, who has stood up for me, um, helped me. They have either helped me by standing up for me, or it was either they stood up for me, excuse me, and it's either they stood up for little old me, or they helped me get my outfit together and my makeup together. Basically, it's either they stood up for me, or they got me right, got me looking right. So I have no problem with the community, I have no problem with that community at all. It's just that she was being, I didn't even say that, she was being reckless with her mouth. Now, I said before, I was not God is still working on me, but at that moment it was so bad that Rachel told Diamond that I was talking reckless to this customer, and I had to tell her, I had to literally tell her this. I told her, no. I said, no, 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 you got the wrong idea. I said, no, I didn't do anything to her I didn't do anything to her to make her mad at me. All I did was just look at her. She asked me, I asked her what would she like to order. I asked her what would she like to order. Now, mind you, the way I sound right now is how I talk in general. So, to some people, I sound very sarcastic, but in all due respect, I'm not being sarcastic. That's exactly how I talk. Like, that's the thing. I've always sound like this. So, so, but yeah, I've always sound like this. At times, I may sound down deadpan about. I may let's put it like this. To some people, I sound sarcastic, but I'm not. And she thought I was being sarcastic, and I said no. I told her no. I said no. I'm not being sarcastic. I haven't. I was like, ah. I was like, I'm not being, rude. I haven't done anything to her. Now, at the time, I wanted to turn her nothing but loose. At that time, I wanted to turn her nothing but loose. And I'm just being real. I want to turn her nothing but loose, but I was like, you know what? God's still working on me, so I'm not going to hit her. God's still working on me. So, so yeah. I ain't hit her cuz I would have turned her nothing but loose. But, her friend had to tell her, "Hey, she's really cool." She's like, "Hey, I'm really cool. I helped I helped him when he didn't when he was having a problem ordering something. She's cool." And she was like, she came off rude to me. He told her, "No, when she talks, because of her accent and the way she talks, she sounds sarcastic, but she's not. She's actually a very sweet person. She's very sweet. It's just that her tone just sounds rude." And I said, "Thank you." He said, "No problem." He said, "I'm sorry for her. I'm sorry about her." Um, Gave me a $10 tip for my problems. We gave her, let's put it like this, we gave her food. Let's put it like this. She comes in, but she comes in when it's not she comes in when I'm not working usually. When I didn't work, basically, she, come in. So yeah. Well, that's what I heard, anyways. But after that debacle, there was a woman who would come in. I didn't know this at the time, but I had another woman who got an attitude at me. Now, at this time, I didn't know what this woman had going on. She was talking to me crazy, and I wanted to talk crazy back. Like I said, I needed money at the time, so I held my tongue together. Now, mind you, I had to keep it within. So, she was just loud, being loud and belligerent, saying all these horrible things about me. And at this time, I saw this manager. I saw this she the lady was talking crazy to me. Today we call her a Karen, a Becky. We either call her a Karen or a Becky. Well, Becky came in my face, and I saw this, black manager who had one of the manager shirts on, and I was like, oh, so we got black managers. I said that internally. I'm like, okay, we got black managers. I can deal with that. So I said, okay, black manager. And he, we're gonna call him Eric. Eric was like, what's going on here? And I told him this woman she's been going off on me for the last few minutes, and he's like, he told her to leave. He said, hey, you go leave. I'm confused because I'm like, now I'm like, okay. After that, she left. She scurried out of there. Once, Eric told her to leave. And he said, are you okay? I said, I'm fine. He said, that woman usually messes up her orders so she can get free food. And I was like, oh. I was like, oh, okay. I said, he said, oh, you must be one of the new people. I said, yeah, my name is Caro. It's nice to meet you. She said, it's nice to meet you. I'm Eric. And, the thing is, he's really chill compared to, comparison to, Diamond. Stark contrast. And now, what's her name? Let me be nice. Rachel just paraded her little ass over there, trying to talk to Eric. But Eric was like, he's like, oh, hey, Rachel, how are you doing today? She's like, I'm doing good, all up in this man's face. And he ignored her, which I was like, just clapping my hands with joy eternally. But yeah, back to that lady yelling at me, being belligerent. She came right back. Now around this time, as some time passed, I went on break, but prior to that, I forgot to add this. Prior to this, once a cashier goes on break, the register has to go to the manager, and they keep it, and they put your little slip of your name in there until you come back, because no one's supposed to be using anybody else's drawer. That is like That's a fact. So, all that to say, you know, unfortunately, you know, as Rachel was taking my order, I had to, as I was dealing with Rachel annoying the hell out of me, and I let her take my order, but now at this time I'm still learning how to say certain orders, because saying certain orders because like I'll give you per example. I want a like one thing I would order. I always have it like a like a chicken sandwich with no pickles. Something I'd order. But but as this but this craziness, right? She thought I was gonna not say it right, but I was like, she thought I was gonna say it wrong, but she was surprised, like it surprised her that I got it right, bitch. At the time I call her a bitch. Nowadays I just like I pity her. But like I pity her now. And all I can do is pity her and pray for her now. But back to the time at the time. Um at that moment I'm like, no ma'am. Alright. But like I said before, I had to be the bigger person. Like I said, I had to be the bigger person. I got ordered my food, went to sit down. Now, that lady came back and bothered the hell out of me, which I'm like, get the hell out my face. I looked at her and said, get the hell out my face," because she yelled at me again, and I told her to get the hell out my face if you know what's good for you, because I haven't done anything to you for this harassment. Cause, and the thing is, she just kept coming and coming and coming, and I'm like, ma'am, Please get out of me. Get out my face. And she kept coming. And I just literally put my hands on the bridge of my nose and sighed and ignored her. The first few times I ignored her, ate my sandwich, she still kept coming up in my face. I literally told her, get the fuck out my face. Get out my face. I'm eating. I'm on break. I don't bother you with you. Whatever you do, please leave me alone. And then this one customer who this one customer who always talks to me. He came in, and the thing is, he asked, "Hey, what's going on here? Are you okay?" And I said, "No, not really. She's effing bothering me." And he said, "Don't let her get on your nerves." He said, "Don't let her get on your nerves." And then he confronted her, saying, "Why are you bothering her? What are you trying to gain from this?" Now, she thought what it is that after that, she tried to switch up the narrative so the guy would be on her side. Now, mind you, this man is white, so she thought she was going to use her. She thought she was going to use her privilege and make him turn on me. But fun fact, jokes on her, it won't work because I kind of know the guy personally. Not personally. He always comes to me, and whenever I'm at my register, he always comes to me. That's the thing. And that's how he knows something was off. Because the thing is, when we're not busy and he's in there, we talk sometimes, and we have a lot of things in common. We have a lot of stuff in common. But yeah, no. But thought she was gonna use her. She thought she was gonna use her white privilege to get him off. I that made me chuckle a little bit. As I was eating. I chuckled a little bit as I was eating because, like, girl, he knows you're lying. Internally, I was like, girl, he knows you're lying. But I shrugged and just ate the rest of my food. He told her, "I know you're lying because I know how this." He said, "Because I know how she is. You said something to her, and you bothered her, causing what's going on right now. So don't lie to me. Tell the truth." All right, I'll be right back, you guys. you guys, I'm back. Oh God, the girls like are. Sorry, you guys. The girl is hungry. It got bad. Yeah, no, I got really hungry. It was either I eat or I get dizzy just drinking coffee by itself. I'm not that crazy. Just saying. Where was I? Oh yeah. Thought the girl was gonna get away with it. Girl, bye. Yeah, that girl thought she was gonna get away with it. I'm like, no, ma'am. Mm. But yeah, she thought she was slick. I'm like, no, ma'am. Because I'm like, mm-mm. No, you don't. So, nice try. So, after that, she left again. So, yeah, she left again. Which I still find it funny to this very day that she thought she was slick. I was like, you poor baby. So, but after, you know, because, she ruined my, you know, she ruined my lunch break. So the guy felt kind of bad for me that she ruined my break. So he slipped me $40. He said, and with a piece of paper, and said, and, he slipped me some cash with a note attached. With a note attached saying, don't let people like her ruin your spirits. You're a very sweet woman. You're a very sweet woman who has more potential than most in here. I pray I pray that you leave this place at some point. I was like, I was touched, but at the same time, I was like, I gotta leave. He's not wrong. So, so yeah, I knew I had to leave at some point. I just didn't know how. Because at that time, I was working there for a year and some change. But when I came back from my when I came back from that whole debacle with my $40, I went in the back to get my register. And I got my stuff. I took my drawer back, got on the thing, and you know, the other cashiers, they got nosy saying, they're like, "Oh my God, he was handsome." Karu, who was that man? I told them he comes during the morning. He comes in the morning, and sometimes he comes at night. And they were like, "Oh." And then they said, "Oh, okay." But who's that? But who is he? Who is he? And I was like, "Get out my face." They're like, "Are you sure? Who is he? Who is he? Like, is he really like that?" Now, I kept on telling them I don't have no attachments to this man like that. And they were like, "Yeah, right, you're lying." I said, "I have nothing to lie about." And they kept on pressing the issue. And I told them, "Get the hell out my face." And I'm like, I don't I don't have romantic feelings for this man. So, yeah. The pestering on who's that man came into existence. Let's just say after that, I was pestered about it. Because kind of find out, he was 10 years older than me at the time. Well, he's 10 years older than me in general. Really sweet guy. So, real. Yeah, he's 10 years older than me. But I didn't. He was good looking. Don't get me wrong. He's good looking, but I just was. I'm like, I can't see myself with that man. So, but also he didn't pursue me, so that's another thing. So, so for the rest of the night, you know, excuse me, as the night was, going along, um, what's his name? As the night was going on, um, we're gonna call this guy Isaiah. Isaiah was like, he's like he's like the goofy guy. I worked with, and he was like, look at you. He said, look at you trying to getting men. Now, mind you, at the time, I was older than him. But all right, let's get this together. It's unfortunately, this is like the stereotypical color of a bonnet, which is messed up. But yeah, as the night went along, I I had to question my life decisions that rest of that night. And so I'm like, but yeah, I'm like, what the hell? Excuse me. But yeah, that whole night I was like, you know what? But as all that played out, I'm like, God's, look, God's, at that moment, I was like, at that moment, something in me sparked that I gotta leave that job at some point because the woman being belligerent with me, I thought like, you know what, I'm gonna have to leave at some point, but so yeah, question my life decisions for real. Um, but as I questioned my life decisions that day, I knew I had to get out of that situation. So it took me a while, but eventually I left. But as we, as the night was coming to a close, my kind of find out, Eric called me to the back and said I got written up, and I'm like, I got written up because I didn't, tell my managers about what happened, about me getting yelled at by the customers saying that, I shouldn't have been yelling at the customer. Well, I guess I shouldn't have been yelling at the customer. I agree with that. I told him I agree I wasn't supposed to yell at the customer, but she was constantly bothering me. Like, she was constantly bothering me on my break, and you just expect me to let her bother me, and I didn't do anything to start with. And Eric looked at that and he saw what was going on, so he ripped it up. And said, you don't need to sign it because I saw what happened. You don't have to sign it. It's not policy, particularly. They can't make you do anything. Saying like, but yeah, I didn't have to sign it because the thing is, because he said, why didn't Rachel stop it? She was still on the clock. When I find out, she was still on the clock. So as she was eating her wings, she didn't clock out until the lady stopped yelling at me. But she didn't get in trouble though. I did. But he said, I'm going to override that. Because Rachel's a team leader. And she should have stopped it. But she didn't care. Ironically enough, he said something very similar to what Rosie said earlier. She don't... I'm very similar, saying all she cares about is what palm colored people, but white people think. And sell out. She's a sellout. Called her a sellout. Which she is. She was a sellout. Like she pretends that she like all for black people, but she's not. She pretend that she likes people, black people, but she doesn't. Excuse me for hearing that, but yeah, she doesn't like black people. And there's a few other people. I'm gonna let you know right now. Yeah, they act like they don't like black people. They don't like themselves. Because, right, ironically enough, one of the older people in the back, the older gentleman in the back, kind of put me on game again that, told me kind of like, well, back in the day, well, not really back in the day, it's more, he said, it's not really back in the day much. It's more on the lines of, she's always, she's basically, literally what he was saying was that she would sell out her own people at the top of a dime because back in the day she turned on somebody. I forgot who. They don't work there no more. Or they came back. Last time I heard they came back. Which I'm like, come on now, what are we doing? Which I'm like, come on now, what are we doing? Like she would basically what she did was I gotta say this nicely. She turned on, like, she was working with some people and she turned on them very fast. You know, she turned on them real fast, which I'm like, I'm not surprised. No, I'm not surprised what she did because, and the reason why I say I'm not surprised what he said, because when I, well, yes, I work night shift more than day shift. Now during day shift when I worked, she, when it came down to white customers, she treat them better than the black customers. She treat them all kind of ways until, you know, she was called out about it. See, this is why you're supposed to have a palette. And I forgot to do this again. Crazy, right? I hate myself right now. Thought I can work faster today, but you know what? But you know what? Like I said, so in the meantime, this is why you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. Don't be like me doing this late shit. So yeah, don't do this. Don't be like me. Make make palettes. Do what you're supposed to do. God, I hate having ADHD. It's a blessing and a curse. But back to what I was talking about with her and how she didn't treat the black customers right, and she would treat the, you know, she was like, I don't like saying this, but she was kissing the white people, those white customers' asses, and then she'd be like, "Ow," to the black customers. Like she wouldn't say it out loud, but you know how people give you that look? That's what it is. She gave a look, a specific look to them, which I'm like, ma'am, these are your customers. They can quit. They can literally get you fired. But she's like, you know, she kiki has and laughs when they leave, saying they will never fire me. I've been working here since forever. You know, I'm like, so that's the timing you want, and I walk off. Because come to find out, she's been working there since the 90s. Like, she's been working there since like literally the 90s. like 1990. She been working there that long. But yeah, that kind of like opened my eyes. Let's put it like this. At that time, I didn't know. I didn't know that. How can I put it nicely? At that time, that was an eye-opening moment that there are some black people who are not for black people. Because you see, I grew up learning that, black people are for each other. And also, she gave off pick me energy. And that's another thing. I was taught that not to have pick me energy either. That's what she had going on. Pick me energy. And that kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. So, yeah. Well, but yeah, I never seen anything like that in my life. Where, like I said, I never seen no shit like that in my life. But you learn something new every day. But as the man in the back that I got cool with, he literally would say, "She's on the plantation." And at first I didn't believe it until I saw it. But yeah, and that's what led to me finding out that she was having relations with. It led up to me finding out she was having relations from the guy in the back towards the end of the shift, that she was sleeping around with one of the she was sleeping around with what's his name? She was sleeping around with Richard, the main manager of one of the locations. So That's the time that she was on. And ironically enough, because the thing is, he been sleeping. Like I said, they've been messing around with each other since the '90s. Because come to find out, she was I found out at the time. This is before I found out like more deep how deep it was, but she was sleeping around with Richard, and to me it was like, oh, so that's the time that she was on, and you know, but in my mind, I'm like, now mind you, Richard is like a heavy set guy, and in my mind, I'm thinking you probably want like you want like a skinny thin dude at the least. And she said, well, hi. All right, let's see what I got going over here. Don't do this to me, chat. But I mean, anybody didn't think that, but people. That you can kind of say, well, for me, I came to this conclusion. That was her sugar daddy. Yeah, that was her sugar daddy. That's who it was. It was a sugar daddy. And I'm like, oh, none of my business. They ain't got nothing to do with me. Mm-mm. Oh God, got my eye. Uh, uh, but other than finding that, and then you know, other than finding out about that, other than that interesting discovery, um, other than that interesting discovery, um, ew, ugh. um, I just questioned a lot of things after that, and then the older gentleman said don't let her get under your skin, but also because kind of find out she's married. That's the crazy part. She's happily married with 3 boys. All her sons are adults, around my age actually. They all, you know, ironically, I met them, but that's another story for another time now. But and kind of find out Richard has a kid too, has a son and a daughter, adults. So so that's a little new discovery too. But couldn't find out, um, couldn't find out, we weren't. I was. Everybody knew about this, but but yeah, I'm like, this is some tea that I need. That I'm like, oh, this is some tea. They say, yeah, because you're new, but they said, but for us, They've been doing this for years. So, still, news to me. But yeah, um, yeah, he told me, that older gentleman told me a lot of stuff. From that tea to Diamond talking to another guy, and she's married. Let's put it like this: he was filling me up with so much tea that the jug was overflowing, and I had to really look and question a lot of things after that. Cause I'm like, what kind of life y'all living? Cause I used to be the hot girl. I used to be the hot girl in the occasional in that thought shit. The occasional thought shit, mind you. But y'all on this timing, I was like this. At that moment, I told myself I'm gonna start writing. As I started my story, I use that job's craziness as my references. And that situation right there, it fit in just right. It'd either be in my writing or in my side stories I created back in the day as a drawing. So I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh, okay. Time to jot stuff down. I'm over there like Blues Clues. I'm like, I got a notebook. I'm over here like Blues Clues, writing stuff down. Like, okay, that works. Okay. Give me some more. But yes, I'm over here like Blues Clues, writing in my handy dandy notebook. Like, oh God. I'm like, oh my gosh. Y'all got me over here wondering what I've been missing. What is crazy. But y'all got all this drama over here for me. I'm over here thinking, Lord, these folks. I'm over here like, Lord, these folks. I mean, nowadays I say pray for them. But at the time, I was like, y'all got too much drama over here for me. And I'm here for all of it, god damn it. Ironically enough, I was here for all of it. I'm like, okay. And as I was writing it down, ironically enough, at the time, I basically, as that played out, what's the nice word I'm looking for? As it played out, um, Let me be nice with my words. But as all this was going on, and I'm writing down all these ideas, I'm so engulfed. I'm so engulfed with all the information going on around me that I'm like, I can't wait for night shift to see what kind of drama, like what will happen next. That's how I felt about night shift. But yeah, I'm like, what will happen next in this drama, in this series of drama? Cause look, cause I'm over here like, cause I think cause I'm like, cause at the time, my mother was like, "Why are you so anxious to go to work?" Is it because you want the money? I say, "Yeah, let's go with that." It was, well, yes, it was money, but it was also that drama, baby. I will never miss a beat at that job. There's always be something dramatic going on. Another scandal after the next. I was like, oh Lord. Like I said, I'm like, ooh. But I'm like, oh, so that's what we're doing. But you know what? I was like, you know what? I don't judge anybody because I don't like when people judge me. But man, that drama was like, it was hot. Boiling over. It was a boiling over, baby. Just boiling over. But yeah, I couldn't wait to go to work. Just for the tea. Cause but yeah, I was like, got that little look. But you know what? I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad. So, yeah, no. But yeah, other than the drama going on in the work at the workplace, I learned a lot of lessons. Hi, Digi, and yes, you didn't miss anything. All I talked about today was how the drama I had at that job of that previous establishment I worked at. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but they called me back asking me if I wanted to come back to work. And I say to that, no. Has COVID not taught them anything? Being an essential worker is hell. You couldn't pay me enough to be let's put it like this. Well, yes, I liked going to work, but COVID, COVID, COVID. I hated COVID, and I say that for a reason. I was an essential worker, so you can only imagine how much worse it was for me. But let's put it like this: this is all, yeah, this is before COVID. This is like it's like 2 or 3 years. No, no, I started working here 2016, I believe. It says 16. I started. It's either 16 or 18. One of those bad boys. Um, Basically, it was either one of those. But yeah, as I worked there, I got a. I was getting the tea, learning life lessons, but mostly getting the tea, just getting the tea, baby. But also around that time, well, I guess I had the concept for my webtoon. I was actually creating another webtoon at the time. That was Life of Kaoru Yoshida, but the stress of the job messed it up for me because I used to update every day until I got tired. And then I had to stop doing it. I had to stop working on my thing. And then it got to the point that I was so stressed out, I couldn't draw because I was that tired. I stopped drawing for long periods of time until eventually Digi had to force me to get out of my to get out of that funk, and I started working on stuff again. And when I started working on stuff again, that ended up being my webtoon, my current webtoon that I use today, that I'm doing today. Because, well, yes, I was stressed out. I had to do during this time, I had to do a lot of reflection as well. I had to put the work in on myself, if that makes sense to any of you. So, because of that, I was, and, because of that, I had to put a lot of things into perspective for myself. But yeah, but as things go, I tried out webtoon. I liked it until I found out, found out they had rules and regulations. And as people, some people, like, told me, oh, webtoon's cool, You can join Canvas. They won't give you strikes or anything like that. Now, me knowing me, I'm like, whatever. Now, I've been doing webtoons since, well, I started my first webtoon in 2018, but I eventually came back and, man, let me see when I started doing my webtoon. When I first, man, let me check webtoon real quick. God, I know I started my current one, a little after the pandemic. Or it was like after pandemic. Damn. Let me look. Damn, I've been doing this thing for 3 years. Oh, wow. I keep forgetting that, believe it or not, I started my pilot episode on June 24th of 2022. Wow, I've been at this bitch for 3 years. Well, that's when I posted on Webtoon, anyways. But yeah, he had to pull me out of my out of that funk I was in, and let's put it like this. Now, this is what really kills me. I know I'm straying away from the story, but now I have nothing against Webtoon. I just don't like when they try to make me. Well, let's put it like this. They usually get on me about my thumbnail. Now, I myself are a stickler for the rules. Okay? So I'm like, I'm not doing all that. I follow the rules. Alright now. You know. But yeah. I got back into my funk. Oh, my back. Even though I may not be done with this. Uh-uh. All right, I'll put the light beaming at her. I bet you're wondering, was I ever going to put a case on this? Yes. Yes, I was. Because hear me out, I believe in putting, um, besides, my day is actually, it's actually been great, actually, believe it or not. Even though, even though this world, even though waking up in this ghetto, even though waking up well, not ghetto, every time, even though I wake up and question my life decisions every morning, I know that I'm gonna be okay. Know everything's gonna be alright. That I do know. No matter how crazy life may be, at the end of the day, it's the end of the day. You know what? This is what we about to do. That's the color of the screen. Cause what y'all not, cause what I'm not gonna do. Cause nope. about to, make myself mad. Crazy. Not about to aggravate me. Absolutely not. Oh my god. If I don't finish this, all right. Well, I'm gonna get on this cover. Let's look. Excuse me. But as I finished up this a little, excuse me. That's not what I'm looking for. You know? No, I'm not a fan of doing this to me. Stay on your best behavior, slips, studio paint. Please save for me, cause studio paint with no problems. Yay! You didn't fail on me, Clip Studio Paint. Yay! Now, for now, my name is Red Barber Radio, and this is goodbye. Bye.